Hey YouTube, Star Trek. I saw the Star Trek movie today, the new prequel, and I wanted to give a review. First, I want to start with my conclusion. I loved it. It was fucking awesome. I mean, it kicked so much ass. To be honest, I kind of had mixed expectations. It was directed and produced by J.J. Abrams. Now, he's mostly known for two things. One is the television show Lost, and another is the movie Cloverfield. Now, I've never seen Lost, and I really have no interest at all in Lost. I absolutely, positively just don't want to see it at all. Cloverfield, kind of the same thing. I mean, I kind of like the idea of doing like a modern-day Godzilla movie, but the whole shaky cam thing, I don't know. I think that when you do that, it just focuses less on the characters and more on the devastation. You know, it looked like Blair Witch Project to me. So I was a little worried that he would be taking over Star Trek. But here's the thing. When I saw the trailer, I was excited because it looked like he was doing something that had never been done before. A Star Trek movie that was actually action-packed, stylish, and flashy. And it was all of those things. Star Trek movies, when it comes to action, they've always been a little stiff and stodgy, because the series themselves were stiff and stodgy. He did it well here. The thing about Star Trek, when you talk about the original series, you know, this came out in the 1960s, and it actually was sort of a social commentary. Gene Roddenberry created a future that had a point to it. He was trying to show something. He was trying to show a future where the military would be all about exploring the final frontier, and that men and women would be considered equals, and that whites and blacks would be considered equals. I mean, look at Uhura. That's a black woman serving as a lieutenant on a starship. That was something in the 60s that was considered a radical idea. Also, the character of Chekhov was somebody who was obviously Russian. This was done at pretty much the height of the Cold War tensions. So this is, you know, it's interesting because it showed a future where Gene Roddenberry knew that Americans and Russians, their differences would be put aside, and that, you know, there would be no more, you know, there would be no more communism, and that, you know, everybody in the world would be united. You know, basically, he created a future where there was world peace. Now, nothing's interesting without some conflict, so there were plenty of Klingons and Romulans and evil space monsters to fight, but that all became swashbuckling escapist fantasy. And not all the aliens were bad. Spock, first officer of the Enterprise, was a Vulcan. I mean, what the fuck is a Vulcan? He looks like an elf, but, you know, there you have it. And it's a tradition that continued. In Star Trek The Next Generation, which is, by the way, my favorite Star Trek series, you had even had a Klingon as the head security officer. And come on, who didn't love Lieutenant Worf? That dude was awesome. Klingon, though, I mean, they were like the evil villains in the first Star Trek series. It just showed that, hey, not all Klingons are bad. So, you know, it was always about social equality. Now, in 2009, do we really need a Star Trek movie? Well, yeah, we kind of do. Because the series, I mean, everything has kind of gone to shit. I mean, I like the newer movies. I like Star Trek 6. I like all the Generations movies. But look at what they did to the series. I mean, Deep Space Nine was boring. There was really nothing interesting about it. Enterprise, oh, don't even get me started. Oh, and I hated Voyager too. I'm probably going to get flamed for that, but fuck Voyager, seriously. I don't care how hot you think Seven of Nine is. I don't think she was that hot. I mean, come on, give me a break. Uhura, on the other hand. Well, anyway, the new Star Trek movie, because it's not all about social equality, because this is something that we kind of already have, you know, for the most part. I mean, there are still a lot of minorities we don't treat so well, but I mean, at least women and blacks pretty much have it pretty good in 2009, so there's that. And we get along with the Russians, although lately it's been a little strained. What can you do? Anyway, this leaves it open to do one of two things. You could either do a film that focuses more on the characters themselves, or you can do a ridiculous action movie that has no point whatsoever. Thankfully, J.J. Abrams decided to focus on the characters. I think that the characters of Spock and Kirk, who were the main two characters in the film, were fleshed out excellently. Now, the rest of the cast, they weren't fleshed out all that well. But that's the way it is. They're supporting characters. Everybody knows that Kirk and Spock are the main characters in Star Trek, and they're the deepest characters. Everybody else is there just to do a job. Kirk and Spock drive the series. And this is the start of something great.